Hey, hello, my friends. Here we are. It's Chat with Matt. It is the 20th of March, 2019, here in New Zealand, 19th of March. Elsewhere in the world, those further to the west of us. Chat with Matt, Mantara's public page. Hello, g'day, Sylvie. Here we go. I'm gonna have a drink before I start. I was just reading through the first question I've got to answer here. Request/question. I'm always open for other things to pop up as we go. Please feel free to write in the comments if you're here with us live. But I have a pre-request from Kelly, which I don't know how I'm going to answer. To be honest, I don't know how I'm going to answer this, so that's always scary sighting, scary sighting, which is exciting/scary. It's going to stretch us, so let's see what comes up. I'm going to hook straight into it. I know Kelly's not here yet. People will pop on as we go. That is the nature of doing live stream broadcasts. It's very hard to wait for everyone to get on the call before we start. So we just start and people can pick up as they go. And if you've missed the start, you can go back and watch the replay after we finished. Anyway, so Kelly wrote in, thank you for creating this space. That's great. I have a question about relationship with fear. Okay, so my relationship with fear has greatly improved by growing my business for the last 7 years, taking on much more risk, being super resilient and bold, dealing effectively with less certainty, I think that's how you say that word, and having to make all of my own success no matter what. And that's awesome. Hey, Barbara, hello. At the same time, my fears of personal safety and romantic relationships have gotten worse. Quote unquote. I'm putting the quotes around worse because I understand what she's saying now. Moving ahead with dating has shifted from feeling like nice to have and to do neutral item to feeling like a terror and a threat to me as a woman. As I was walking to a date this weekend, I noticed how I actually felt genuinely scared/traumatized rather than just anxious, instead of joyful. Do you have any insight into what might be causing a decrease in business fear and an increase in personal romantic fear? Do I have some sort of maximum on how much fear I can handle? Why wouldn't my victories with fear in business also help me in relationships? I always thought that improvement in one area would create improvement in another too. Thank you, and your Mexico trip looked amazing. Hello, Angela. Hello, Jen. Sister Jen Burns. Sorry, I don't know why I called you Jenny. I don't think I've ever called you Jenny before. Anyway, so that was a question from Kelly, which is an interesting question, and I still don't know how I'm going to answer it. So, to the point where I feel my throat closing up, which is interesting, Kelly. As we're talking about fear, you've stirred up one of my fears, which is if I ever get a question that I don't, the answer doesn't flow through for. Anyway, so let's start talking. It's awesome that you have been willing to keep stepping forward into greater and greater business risk and step through what naturally happens, which is, having to work with the experience of fear and doubt and all of the rest. It's exactly true, Victor. It is exactly true that PTSD is not widely recognised, and I believe everyone is suffering from PTSD, mainly past life PTSD, which is not something that we talk about, which is not mainstreamly talked about, which I am becoming more and more aware of. Exactly as you say, seemingly innocuous events can trigger fearful reactions based on alignments or resonances with deep levels of fear that we're not aware of why it's there. Hello, Sister Trina from somewhere, Jamaica or somewhere like that. Trinidad, Tobago, I believe. Not very good with memory, but I'm hanging in there as best I can. So yes, exactly, Victor, and you've just helped me answer this question. So fear is not an all-encompassing thing, although it is true that people who surrender into fear tend to can allow, we see this, that fear can take over someone's life, and that they just become fearful of everything that's different, anything that's unusual, anything that's pushes them or takes them out of their quote-unquote comfort zone. So Kelly, you've been doing great with getting out of your comfort zone and stepping forward into more and more business success, and owning, having the responsibility to take your own steps, and definitely working with your own business is awesome like that. But it is obvious, it seems, that you have PTSD, or what I would call past life residues from past life experiences around your relationship with men, and specifically with intimacy with men, and feeling safe in that. Obviously, there's things that have happened in your deep past that you are unaware of intellectually, that is being stimulated, triggered when you go on these dates. Now, the question that's going to pop into your mind, and probably many other people's minds, why is it seeming to get worse? Why wasn't it there from the get-go? How come you managed to go on dates earlier in your life and you weren't experiencing the same level of fear? Now, I've worked, a fair bit with this sort of thoughts, because I also noticed that in my own life that certain fears got worse at a certain age, at whatever age, and it doesn't seem to make any sense, because it didn't, nothing seemed to happen to stimulate that. So I've been sort of contemplating this phenomena that I see in many people, and many people, as clients turn up and say, it just happened at the age of 28 or 35, or all of a sudden I started really having problems with this, and there's no great explanation for it. So from Mantara, the sort of the explanation arises that it does take quite a while for us to upload, if you like, the various scrolling through pretty quick. I'm going to go back and have a read of that, but I'll keep on my thread right now. The various past life indoctrinations. So, for example, definitely up to the age of 21, we're still very much uploading our past life experiences. But I've also noticed that this goes on to 28 and even to 35, and perhaps older still. That I know it's Gary. I know your name's Gary, Victor. I don't know why you changed it on Facebook, but I noticed you did do it several months ago. But the point is that if we were to be born into our little body as an innocent baby and have all of our past life energy trying to embody, it would be a disaster, right? We would go into complete overload. So we have this sort of innocence as a child that is built upon as we move on, and I believe it's our higher self that moderates or controls this uploading of energies into our field for us to deal with as we can. Now, I know, hey, Adriano, now I know it feels like many of us get given more than we can cope with, but I would encourage you to trust that your higher self does know what you can cope with much better than your personality can. One thing that I, am always dealing with is people telling me that they can't cope with anymore, right? They've reached their limit, and it's bullshit. It's bullshit. You are far more resilient. All of us are far more resilient than we give ourselves credit for. And I encourage people not to keep proclaiming that they can't cope with anymore, because if there's one thing the universe is good at doing, it's showing us our lies. So if we keep saying, I can't cope with any more, the universe is going to prove to you that you can cope with more. Universe / higher self is going to prove to you that you can cope with more by giving you more to cope with. Right? And so I've seen many of my clients say, I can't cope, I can't cope, I can't cope, and yet they keep coping, but also they stay in this cycle of intensifying their discomfort and still surviving it, right? And I believe that if they were willing to stop saying, believing, thinking that they can't cope with what they're going through, if they started actually believing that they can cope with it, they wouldn't have to keep proving to themselves that they can cope, right? So, I don't know why I went down that path. That wasn't exactly part of Kelly's question, but the point is here to understand that your higher self gives you or allows the upload of various energies from your distant past into your field for you to process and hopefully release as and when you are most likely to be able to deal with it, or as and when it is best going to serve you to cope with the vibrations that you have experienced in the past that are still stuck in your energetic field, basically because you're holding them in judgment, so that you can release them, so that you can become free of them. So Kelly, as you've stepped forward into becoming more and more confident with dealing with fear in your business world, then your higher self has taken the opportunity to start allowing you to work with this dense energy, a very dense energy from an experience that you've had in other lifetimes around being abused, no doubt, by your partner, right? By masculine energy in your life who you were dealing with in a intimate or at least sexual way. The sex isn't necessarily intimate, if you know what I mean. So intimacy is far deeper than you know, the flesh. Anywho, your job. So moving forward from now, so hopefully that's given you a level of understanding as to why you are experiencing this increase in intensity in the fear that you feel in dealing with dating and men and intimacy, and the personal safety issue of all of that. Oh, great, Kelly, you're here. Wasn't sure that you were. So the point is, moving forward from here is to find allowance around that. It's to actually accept that this is past life trauma and that it isn't actually an intuitive... Yeah, exactly. Ali would have definitely seen that, you know, that is the case, if it's there, and obviously it is there because we're talking about it and you're experiencing it. So the point is for you to accept that that is why you are feeling the genuine, and it is genuine, levels of trauma and fear around moving into this, but also to remind yourself that it's not actually relevant to the situation you're in, right? To understand that while you're feeling all of this fear as you're walking towards going on a date, that it isn't intuitive guidance as to this is a dangerous situation. It is actually just the triggering of the residues of those past lives that are still held in your field. Basically, they're held in your field because you weren't able to deal with it at the time. You judged it as bad or wrong or unfair, and all of those things are understandable for humans to do, right? We judge that stuff as that should not have happened, but the point is it did happen. And holding judgment around it is not going to help you. So part of your process of moving forward is to do some very, very deep forgiveness work with those experiences that you've had in the past, both forgiving yourself for allowing yourself to get into that situation, forgiving whatever souls or vibrations were involved in that abuse, and understanding that that whole process is not a mental one. It's not about validating, justifying why it happened or anything like that. It's about bringing in the vibration of forgiveness, the vibration of unconditional love, to help release you from that judgment that that should not have happened, and that somehow you want some sense of, what do we call that stuff? That's a bit of a joke. That sense of justice, right? This idea of justice, that you should be somehow compensated, that they should be somehow punished. Understand that those situations that happened in the past happened for whatever reason, and it has all furnished you and the other people involved with greater degrees of wisdom, and that is what we are here to achieve, greater degrees of wisdom on this planet. So that's great, greater degrees of wisdom, but now you just need to release the emotional residues of those experiences. And the process of doing that is one of finding acceptance for the experience that you had, and to allow forgiveness to basically let it all go. It is a process and it will take time. Of course, stepping forward and to allow yourself to be triggered and to move through that triggering experience with a degree of confidence is also going to help you. Exactly, Kelly. So Kelly wrote in and said, accepting other levels of trauma makes it much easier to accept what's happening now. Definitely have done lots of making it bad and judging, etc. I've been learning forgiveness work in this lifetime. I feel ready to port it over to the universe. I don't know if port was the right word there, but anyway, we get what you mean. So exactly. So allow your higher self to help you, and the universe to help you, and God, whatever, structure you put that in, belief system you put that in, but allow yourself to be helped to release these vibrations from the past, and allow yourself to keep stepping forward into these triggering situations, and just work with it in an empowered way, much as the way you've already proved that you can do it with your business success. You can definitely get through these issues with your romantic life, your relationships with men. You can definitely get through this. It's just a matter of choosing to show up with a level of compassion and understanding and allowance for yourself and the process that you're going to go through, right? Being compassionate with yourself when you are feeling very fearful, not making yourself wrong, right? Choosing not to beat yourself up for feeling beat up in this situation. Hello, Charlie Ross. So that's it. It's a matter of being confident and choosing to step forward, being disciplined, and perhaps a better word is devoted or dedicated to going through the process, right? Because it's very easy to hide from the process, but you're not a person to do that, obviously, Kelly, because you keep showing up, and you said you just last weekend, you are feeling this genuine level of traumatized fear. And yet, obviously, well, as far as I can tell, you actually made it to the date. So well done. And just keep choosing to do that with perhaps a greater degree of awareness as to why you are feeling the fear, so that you can put it in its place. Because once you understand that the fear that you're feeling is from past life, you can have a different perspective to it, rather than make it feel really wrong that you're feeling it, and feel really pissed off or angry even that your date is being ruined by this level of fear that you're feeling arising from within you. Choose to be happy that you're getting the opportunity to release these vibrations from your distant past that have been influencing your whole life on a level, and will have influenced you in different levels and layers of your life as well. So it's a great opportunity for you to become free of this. And awesome, right? So you've attracted, as you've just written here, a fantastic and loving man. And so now your process is to be willing to be very open with him, and of course he might not understand past lives and all of the rest of it, but you can talk about, most people understand PTSD and layers of trauma that are irrational. Most people can understand that fears can be irrational, and it's most likely going to be beneficial for you to share with him that you are feeling fear that is irrational, so that he can be aware of sometimes your behavior might not be rational, and thus he can take allowance of that. And the more openness you bring into any relationship, communication wise, is always going to help. The more that you are willing to express the fact that you are scared for no good reason actually helps to release the fear, right? Because the more that we try and hide it from others, the more that we feel ashamed that we're scared, the more that the fear has power over us. When we bring it out into the open, fear really doesn't stand up against the light. So when we shine the light of love and compassion into our fear-based selves, we help to overcome the fear much more effectively than trying to fight the fear, trying to beat the fear, trying to beat the fear into submission. It doesn't really work very well, right? We can work with fear in such a way, in a strong way, in a disciplined way, but ultimately the best way to free ourselves of the fear is to work in a loving way with it. And a very loving thing to do is to express your fears and share them in a empowered way, right? In an empowered way, so that you can release them more effectively, and you can get help releasing them, right? Your partner or your boyfriend or your date, whatever level he's on yet. Maybe he's not a boyfriend yet, but he's whatever person you're in relationship with, because you already have a relationship with everyone you meet, can help you move through that. Obviously, you need to work in a way that, intuitively work with a way that's going to work, right? Not dumping more than he can cope with on his head, but at the same time being willing to share what, you can cope with. And you are very welcome, Kelly. So thank you for emphasizing the compassion and communication. My reading's hopeless. Thank you for emphasizing compassion and communication. It feels great to know I can move through with this. And I'm not crazy. No, you're definitely not crazy. And there's an empowered path to get there. Exactly. Well done, Kelly. Awesome. Thank you very much for bringing that up. I will just scroll back here because I missed a few comments. Hey, Leslie, yeah, there's all sorts of stuff. So Victor was writing in about, there's a book by Mark something anyway, but they talk about, the formation of stuff in the brain as a result of trauma. And that's more, things, as a result of trauma, which attaches itself to the DNA and sits in the mother's egg right through 3 and 4 generations. Exactly. We're all dealing with various layers of trauma. Sister Sylvia, it's like you removed some layers and you found things that were hiding under other stuff. Exactly. As we move through this process, and Kelly's been stepping forward into more and more confidence with her business, that basically opens the door to deal more confidently with layers of fear that were basically she was protecting herself from earlier on in her life. So basically, if you want to think of it this way, protecting yourself from fear that you can't cope with until you get strong enough to cope with it. But then when it does arise, it feels like you can't cope with it, but your higher self knows better, right? It's your rune name, Victor. It's been doing tons of research. Yeah, cool. Okay, my friend, so let's get back to live. You are very welcome, Kelly, and yes, please re-listen as often as you like. Sister Sylvie wrote in, also, how am I going for time? God, it flies by, 10:25. Anyway, well, let's see how we go here. You dwelled on this a few times already, but this is really key for me. Can you expand on the "there is no mission" statement that you made recently with full stop? With all the insistence on a certain view on purpose in the spiritual community, I have felt that I guessed my purpose and failed at it quite a few times already. Okay, so let's start with purpose. I've said it many times, I'm going to say it again. Your purpose is to express your true self. Full stop, finished, period, right? That is your purpose. God did not send you here with a mission that you need to complete to prove yourself worthy or to be a good person or to help God. God does not need your help. You are God itself experiencing yourself. God does need your help in a way, but it's not to do a mission. It's to experience the magnificence of God through your eyes. You are an individuation of God, basically bouncing off other individuations of God so that God gets to know itself, right? That is what we are here to do. That is our purpose. That is our mission. It is as simple as that. You can do that while observing the magnificence of an ant carrying a crumb, right? You are having an experience as you allow yourself to delve into that experience, to fall into that experience, to experience that experience in a more expanded way than you ever have before. The magnificence of an ant carrying a crumb is your mission, right? And many other permeations of similarly inane, normal, small stuff, right? We can have expanded experiences of small stuff that is incredibly valuable to the collective of the all in any moment. That is our mission, that is our purpose, right? Now, also, of course, some of us find that our purpose grows, and in expressing our true self, we do end up on a soapbox, or we do end up delivering information to others, or we do end up writing a book, or starting a foundation, or doing something else that is bigger. But the truth is, just because it's bigger from the perspective of the human mind doesn't make it more important to God, source, universe, higher self, right? So please, 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 all of you, my friends, get out of the idea that you have to live a massively external life to be expansive. Expansive can be deep, right? It doesn't necessarily mean to be out there in a big way, right? I know expansive sounds like that, but expansive basically means to allow your limitations, your blinkers basically just to fall away so that you can see things in deeper ways. I'm just making sure my screen's not, paused. Sometimes it does. There we go. Thank you, Robin Hall, for just choosing to show me that it's not. And welcome to this live stream. So I know it's big in the spiritual community to want to inspire each and every one of us to step forward into greater purpose and to achieve bigger goals, external goals. And then we go looking for that in order to prove ourselves. Many of us who are attracted to Mantara's work have lower senses of self-worth. Many of us are carrying basically PTSD from past lifetimes of working as light bearers against a very, very formidable dark force that has been controlling this planet for a long time. We've basically been beaten up a bunch of times, so we've had our self-worth rather lowered. Now, with the person with lower self-worth, what they want to do is prove themselves worthy. So many of us have come here onto this planet and from the get-go have been trying to prove ourselves. We've been trying to win affection. We've been trying to win appreciation from others. And many of us have fallen into spiritual communities where this idea of being serviceful, purposeful, living a life of self-sacrifice has been put on a pedestal, right? Being put on a pedestal. So that's it. So trust that many of us have been trying to guess our purpose and trying to live this experience, try to succeed. Hello, Nisha. How are you, sister? Trying to live this experience and then, quote unquote, from a perspective of our own mind, failing. Because the truth is, Sylvie, you haven't really failed. You haven't really failed in living your purpose, because every time that you've guessed something to do and chosen to step forward into trying to do it, you are living a purpose, because you are working through your stuff. You are gently expanding your stuff by trying things and failing, right? As I was talking, I can't remember when, it might have been on the live stream to my internal group, or not. It might have been this time last week. I can't remember, but I was saying successful people basically have failed more times than they've succeeded. But the point is, their successes outweigh their failures. So, and yet the human mind, particularly my human mind, tends to hang on our failures, put more weight on our failures, put more weight on our shortcomings or negative experiences than it does on my positive experiences, right? I might get 10 emails of appreciation, and then I get one email saying that maybe I didn't live up to someone's expectations. And what's the one that runs through my mind in the middle of the night? It's not the 10 emails of appreciation, right? It's the one email that I'm perceiving as a failure, as a shortcoming. That's the negative bias that human minds carry. It's a survival technique, but it's not very helpful for living a happy, joyful life. So to move into our happy, joyful, expansive life, I'm encouraging you all to let go of this idea of having to succeed at some externally allocated mission, right? That you're supposed to find what you're supposed to do, which most people get very contracted about, not knowing what they're supposed to do here. And really all you're supposed to do here is keep breathing and stay aware and take the next step from your heart, right? Or not from your heart. It doesn't really matter, because if you're not acting from your heart, you're still gaining wisdom. It's just more uncomfortable, that's all. Slowly but surely you'll get yourself into enough discomfort that you'll say enough is enough, and you'll make changes. That's the point. No one will ever fail here, right? It's not about having to succeed. The process itself is perfect, right? You cannot fail at it. If you just keep showing up and breathing and going through, eventually you are going to expand, right? It's inevitable. It's inevitable. You might put yourself through a whole shit ton of pain first, right? But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter to your higher self, to God, right? It matters to you personally because it's pain and we don't like pain. But to the bigger aspects of you, it's all wisdom and it's all experience and it's all leading you forward. So relax. You can't do anything wrong. The process is, how much do you want to suffer? Where are you at? Have you had enough of that suffering yet? And are you ready to relax into an expansive mode of operation with yourself and your surroundings and the universe itself? That's what we're here to help people with, right? That's what we're here to help people with, to keep reminding them to relax into a deeper relationship with yourself, not needing to prove yourself in any way, working through the process we talk with Kelly of working through these deep levels of PTSD or fear-based emotional energy trapped from the past, so that we can become more and more empowered, more and more effective, more and more expansive in how we're experiencing the world. So that's awesome, right? How am I going? 10:34, not too bad. What else did I want to say? So thank you, Sylvie, for allowing me to express that once again. So yeah, I'm back, obviously, back from Mexico. Was that just yesterday or the day before? It was the day before, the night before. So back less than 48 hours anyway. As I was saying earlier in the call, Robin, many of us are suffering PTSD from our past lifetimes. That's the point. We've had traumas in past times that we can't even remember, that is, creating discordance and disturbance. So that's it. And of course, then as traumas tend to reinforce themselves by attracting vibrations that resonate with the trauma that's already present. So, that's it. many of our early childhood or this lifetime experiences are reflections of experiences we've had in the past, which gives us opportunity to choose again, to move through, to release those traumas. Although many of us are not carrying we don't have the information to help us make good choices around that. And so what tends to happen is the more recent experiences reinforce the old traumas rather than help you to release them. Anyway, yeah, I'm glad I'm back too. And I'm already getting really excited about going to Bali in September. So yeah, I'm starting to ramp up. I'm going to start publicizing much more my Bali retreat, which is it's the 8th to the 14th of September 2019 in Tejukula, Bali, northern part of Bali. Very, very beautiful part of the world. The more that Marie and I travel, we were just talking about this as we were coming home on the plane, the more that we travel, the more that we realize how lucky we were to find that retreat center in Bali. This will be our 5th visit, or at least Marie's 5th visit to that retreat center. It'll be my 3rd. So yeah, we've held a few retreats there because it is absolutely perfect for the retreats that we like to hold, and it's a very, very conducive place for transformation to occur. It makes it very, very easy for us as facilitators to get great outcomes, which we're seeing more and more with the people who have come on retreat there. Some people will be coming this September because we're running 2 retreats there. Marie's retreat, which is more strictly just yoga, although I'll be there doing light language as well. But it's more for our yoga school people who are coming to that retreat. It's already well full. But some people are coming to that for the 3rd time. So that goes to show you how great a space it is. Yeah, so I'm opening registrations up to that. You can check it out on my website under retreats. I will start posting the link and putting it in my websites because I am very, very, very much looking forward to that and very excited about what I experienced on the last retreat and how my retreats have morphed a little bit from the first time I was in Bali, in that I'm much more relaxed about how we deliver information, how we deliver, information more than anything, and not having to structure it so much so that we can just allow the information to arise when and where it's appropriate, and not need to have lectures or even structured program so much. We can basically hang out and enjoy doing all sorts of different things, going to the beach, climbing mountains, going under waterfalls, doing whatever cultural experiences, and the opportunity to express bits of information that are going to help people present themselves. And, my retreats and all of my facilitation has always been around delivering energetic spaces to facilitate transformation rather than teaching people processes and delivering information. That all happens as an adjunct. The main part of the process is the energetic space and the container and the support and the inspiration that happens within that to help people grow very effectively and very, very quickly. And that's what we love about getting people out of their normal everyday world and taking them somewhere cocooned for 6 or 7 days where they're not influenced very much at all by anything of their past, right? Their past life, their current life is not in their face. They're in a completely different space, and that is very, very conducive to transformation occurring. We can reset a lot of stuff by doing that. So that is available. It's coming up soon. I am still working on my sleep package. Look, I've got a bunch of notes here of stuff that I'm going to get that finished. That will be coming out soon. Hey, Jen, how are you? Bali was seriously awesome. Jen has definitely had some major shifts since coming to Bali with us in May last year. Definitely, you are in a completely different space of empowered confidence in yourself, and you're still going through a process, as am I. But that's it. It is a great kickstart or help or quantum step or whatever you want to look at it on the process to invest in going on retreats for ourselves. And it's not just about coming with me and doing that. Any type, same sort of thing is very, very valuable to us, right? To invest time. It's time, right? Not just money, but time in ourselves. It might be going by yourself and up into the mountains and staying in a cabin, or to the beach and staying in a cabin. It's just about getting away from your everyday world and allowing yourself to have this space where you can really tune into yourself, right? It's very, very, very valuable. And of course, if you want some help with that, you can come with us. Anyway, my friends, that's it. 40 minutes into this live stream, time that I got off. Much, much love to you all. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions at all. You can contact me by email, mantara@mantara.nz, or NZ as we would say here in New Zealand, or reach out via Facebook. We're here to serve you all. Much, much love. I don't think I have anything else to announce, but I'll see you all again, same time, same space next week here. Bye for now. Bye-bye.